The gym was always loud in the evenings. Music played from the speakers, people talked over each other, and the sound of punching bags being hit filled the room like steady beats. It was a place full of energy, sweat, and people trying to look stronger than they really were. In the middle of all this noise, there was someone who never tried to show anything. It was the maid, a young woman named Lena, who came every afternoon to clean the place. She moved quietly, almost like a shadow, wiping mirrors, picking up towels, and sweeping corners nobody looked at. Most people didn't notice her, and those who did never paid attention for long. But one person did notice her, though not in a kind way. His name was Ryan, a wealthy young man who trained at the gym almost every day. He came from a rich family, drove an expensive car, and walked with a confidence that made him believe everyone should notice him the moment he entered a room. His friends treated him like the leader of their group, laughing at every joke he made and copying everything he did in the gym. They were loud and full of ego, often encouraging each other to do silly things. Just to get attention, Ryan loved making jokes about people who looked quiet or shy. Anyone who didn't look strong instantly became a target for his teasing. And because Lena never lifted her head much and always seemed like she was avoiding people's eyes, she became the kind of person he liked to joke about. He didn't know anything about her life, but he assumed she was weak simply because she worked there and stayed silent. One late afternoon, when the gym was more crowded than usual, Ryan was talking with his friends near the boxing area. They were laughing loudly, telling stories about who won what match, and bragging about their strength. When Ryan noticed Lena cleaning the mat next to the punching bag, he smirked and nudged his friend with his elbow. "Watch this," he whispered with excitement. The kind of excitement that meant he was about to start another prank. His friends leaned in. "What are you going to do now?" one of them asked, half laughing already. Ryan glanced at Lena again, who was carefully wiping sweat marks from the floor. "Let's challenge her to punch the bag," he said. "Just for fun." She panicked. "It'll be hilarious." His friends immediately burst into quiet laughter. They liked anything that made them feel superior, and this prank seemed harmless to them. They didn't think about how she might feel or how embarrassing it could be for her. They just wanted a moment of entertainment. Lena didn't hear them, of course. She was focused on her work, trying to finish quickly so she could move on to cleaning the locker room. She didn't like being in the middle of people, especially when they were loud. She preferred being unnoticed because attention often came with trouble. But that day, attention came to her whether she wanted it or not. Ryan walked up to her with a grin. The kind of grin people wear when they already know what outcome they want. Lena looked up slowly, unsure of why he was standing so close. "Hey," Ryan said, pretending to sound friendly. "Want to try punching the bag?" His voice was loud enough for several people around them to hear. A couple of gym members looked over, confused but curious. They knew Ryan well enough to guess he was trying to start something. Lena blinked in surprise. "Me," she said softly. Ryan's friends snickered behind him. One of them whispered, "She doesn't even look strong enough to push the bag." Another added, "This will be good." Ryan tried to act encouraging, but his eyes were full of mischief. "Come on," he said. "Just one punch. Show us what you've got." Lena didn't know what to say. She didn't want to be rude, but she also didn't want to be part of a joke. She felt her face warm up as more people turned to watch. A few took out their phones, thinking something funny was about to happen. The weight of so many eyes made her heart beat faster. She wanted to walk away, but doing that would only make the group laugh even louder. So instead, she asked quietly, "Right now?" Her soft voice made Ryan's friends laugh harder, but Ryan just held out a pair of gloves. "Yeah, right now. Put these on." The room felt smaller for her. The music still played, but her ears couldn't focus on it anymore. She took the gloves in her hands, unsure if she should actually go through with this. She didn't want to cause trouble. She didn't want to be made fun of. But she also didn't want to keep standing there while people looked at her. As she slipped the gloves on, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Memories of her childhood came back, memories she usually kept hidden. She remembered watching her brothers train in the backyard of their small home, copying their moves when they weren't looking. She remembered the first time she punched a training pad and surprised her brother with the strength she didn't know she had. She remembered the excitement she used to feel before life became difficult and she had to leave everything behind. Those memories didn't make her smile, but they gave her a quiet strength she had forgotten. Now, standing in front of the punching bag, she took a slow breath. The gym had gone strangely quiet. People weren't laughing anymore. They were curious. Some even looked unsure if this had gone too far. Ryan crossed his arms, waiting for the moment he could laugh. His friends stood behind him, phones ready to record her funny attempt. But something in the air felt different. Lena didn't look scared now. She looked calm, too calm, Her face had a focus that didn't match the quiet maid. They always saw cleaning in the background. She moved her feet into a position she used to practice as a child. She raised her hands with the gloves on, not like a beginner but like someone who understood what she was doing. Only a few people noticed this shift, and those who did felt confusion spread across their faces. Lena looked at the bag, not at the crowd. For a moment, everything around her faded: the music, the whispers, the laughter that had stopped. She took another breath, sharp but steady. Then she pulled her hand back and punched. It wasn't a dramatic move. It wasn't something out of a movie. It was clean, sharp, and perfectly placed. The sound that followed stunned the entire gym. A loud, strong thud echoed across the room. The punching bag swung back hard, much harder than anyone expected. It moved so far that two people took a step back, surprised it almost hit them. The bag didn't just move, it shook from the impact. Ryan's mouth opened, but no sound came out. His friends lowered their phones without realizing it. The few people who had been watching stopped breathing for a second. The noise of the punching bag hitting the chains above was louder than the music. The gym fell into complete silence. Lena slowly took off the gloves. She didn't look proud. She didn't look angry. She didn't even look excited. She just looked like someone who had done something normal, something she knew how to do. That she placed the gloves gently on the bench and said in a polite voice that felt even softer in the quiet room, "I should get back to cleaning." Then she walked away calmly, picking up her cleaning cloth and moving to the next area like nothing had happened. People watched her as she walked. No one spoke, no one laughed. A few looked at Ryan, waiting for him to say something, but he didn't. He couldn't. His prank had completely flipped on him. The punching bag was still swinging when Lena reached the locker room door, and the entire gym stood there, stunned, trying to understand how the quiet maid had just shaken the room with one single punch. The gym didn't feel the same after that day. Something had shifted in the air, like a quiet reminder that people were not always what they appeared to be. The story of Lena's single punch spread quickly, even though she had done nothing to draw attention to herself. She didn't brag, she didn't repeat what happened, and she didn't even look at the punching bag when she walked past it. But the people who saw the moment couldn't stop talking about it. Some of the gym members tried to act normal, lifting weights and jogging on treadmills, but their eyes kept drifting toward Lena whenever she came out to clean the floor. The same woman they had thought of as invisible was now someone they watched from the corner of their eyes, trying to figure out if what they had seen was real. What surprised everyone even more was how calm she stayed after everything. When she came to work the next day, she wore the same simple uniform, tied her hair the same way, and moved with the same quiet steps. But the gym wasn't quiet around her anymore. Whispered conversations followed her like shadows. "That punch, you saw it, right? She must have trained before. Maybe she's hiding something. Do you think she could actually fight?" Nobody asked her directly. They were too unsure, too embarrassed. They felt guilty for the way they had treated her before, especially the ones who used to laugh at her or move aside with disrespect when she passed. Now they stepped out of her way, not because she was just cleaning, but because they respected her without saying it out loud. But the person who felt the most uneasy was Ryan. He hadn't expected things to turn out the way they did. His prank was supposed to make his friends laugh, not leave him completely stunned in front of everyone. He thought Lena would hit the bag gently, maybe awkwardly, giving him a funny video to laugh about later. Instead, she delivered a punch that echoed in the walls and in his memory too. He couldn't stop replaying the moment in his head. The way she stood, the way she focused, the way her fist landed with a sound that still felt unreal. Every time he closed his eyes, she wasn't the quiet maid, she was someone powerful, someone confident, someone he didn't understand at all. That confusion bothered him more than the embarrassment. He tried to act normal the next day, bragging about his workout or laughing with his friends, but every time Lena walked by, his voice broke a little. He would pause mid-sentence and stare without meaning to. His friends noticed and teased him, saying things like, "Bro, you're scared of her now," or "You should challenge her again, maybe she'll shake the whole building this time." He forced a smile at their jokes, but he didn't find them funny anymore. Deep inside, he felt something he wasn't used to feeling: respect mixed with guilt. He kept thinking, why didn't I ask if she knew boxing? Why did I assume she couldn't do anything? Why did I make her the target of a joke? While he struggled with his thoughts, Lena didn't change the way she behaved. She didn't avoid him, but she didn't look for him either. She simply did her job. If she needed to clean the spot next to where he was training, she did so quietly, focusing on her work rather than the people around her. The only difference was that she didn't keep her eyes on the floor anymore. She still walked softly, but her posture was straighter now, as if that single moment had reminded her of her own strength, a strength she had hidden for years. She didn't enjoy being the center of attention. In fact, she wished things could go back to the way they were. But something inside her felt lighter. She had faced humiliation, and instead of shrinking back, she had handled it with calm dignity. She didn't brag about it. She didn't remind anyone of what happened. She simply carried herself with a quiet pride. One afternoon, when the gym wasn't too crowded, Lena was cleaning the mirrors near the stretching area. The afternoon light from the windows fell on the floor, giving everything a warm, golden glow. She worked slowly, enjoying a rare, peaceful moment. Then she heard footsteps approaching behind her. It was Ryan, but this time, he wasn't walking with loud steps or full of confidence. His steps were slow and careful, as if he was unsure whether he should even come close. He held a bottle of water in his hand, but he didn't look like he came to drink it. When Lena turned around slightly, he cleared his throat. "Hi," he said. She gave him a polite nod but didn't say anything. She continued wiping the mirror, waiting to see what he really wanted. Ryan scratched the back of his head, searching for words. For someone who always spoke loudly, confidently, and often too much, he suddenly had no idea how to begin. "Wanted to talk to you," he finally said. Lena stopped cleaning and looked at him with calm eyes. She didn't seem angry. She didn't seem annoyed, but she didn't look eager to chat either. She was simply waiting. He swallowed. "About the other day," he said. "The challenge, or the prank, whatever you want to call it." Lena remained silent. Rayon felt his chest tighten. He wasn't used to apologizing, but he knew he had to. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I shouldn't have done that. It was disrespectful. I wasn't trying to hurt you, but I didn't think about how it might make you feel." The gym was noisy, but in the space around them, things felt strangely quiet. Lena stood still for a moment before saying softly, "It's okay. I'm used to people not taking me seriously." Her words hit him harder than he expected. He realized she wasn't just talking about his prank. She meant life in general, the way people treated her, the way they ignored her, the way they assumed things about her without knowing anything. "I didn't know you trained," he said, trying to sound friendly but still unsure. "I used to," she replied. "A long time ago, not for showing off. I just learned because it helped me feel strong." He nodded slowly, absorbing her words. For the first time, he wasn't looking at her as the maid, but as a person with her own story and her own struggles. "Your punch was incredible," he admitted, almost embarrassed to say it. She smiled faintly, not in a proud way but in a grateful one. "Thank you." Rayan took a deep breath. "If you ever want to train again, I mean, like for fun, I could help. Or we could ask one of the coaches. I'm not saying you need help, you're clearly better than I thought. Maybe it would be nice." Lena looked down at the cloth in her hand, unsure how to respond. She had come to this gym only to work, not to train. She didn't have time or money for lessons, nor did she want people watching her again. Still, she appreciated his offer. "I'll think about it," she said kindly. Rayan nodded, relieved she didn't reject him completely. He stepped back, giving her space, and she returned to cleaning the mirror. But something had changed. The awkward tension between them had softened. Over the next days, people watched them with curiosity. They saw Rayan treating her with respect, stepping aside when she came through, and greeting her politely instead of ignoring her. Some people whispered, some smiled, and some felt inspired to treat her better too. But the quiet attention didn't bother Lena anymore. She had stopped hiding her abilities, even if she didn't openly show them. She walked with a lighter step, knowing she wasn't as invisible as she once believed. The gym slowly returned to its routine, but everyone still remembered the moment when a simple maid had delivered a punch so powerful that it silenced the entire room. It became a memory people used to remind themselves not to judge anyone too quickly. And deep inside, both Lena and Rayan knew that the story wasn't finished yet. Something was building. Something neither of them fully understood, something that would slowly reveal more about who they were and how they would change because of one unexpected moment. The gym was always loud in the evenings. Music played from the speakers, people talked over each other, and the sound of punching bags being hit filled the room like steady beats. It was a place full of energy, sweat, and people trying to look stronger than they really were. In the middle of all this noise, there was someone who never tried to show anything. It was the maid, a young woman named Lena who came every afternoon to clean the place. She moved quietly, almost like a shadow, wiping mirrors, picking up towels, and sweeping corners nobody looked at. Most people didn't notice her, and those who did never paid attention for long. But one person did notice her, though not in a kind way. His name was Rayan, a wealthy young man who trained at the gym almost every day. He came from a rich family, drove an expensive car, and walked with a confidence that made him believe everyone should notice him the moment he entered a room. His friends treated him like the leader of their group, laughing at every joke he made and copying everything he did in the gym. They were loud and full of ego, often encouraging each other to do silly things, just to get attention. Ryan loved making jokes about people who looked quiet or shy. Anyone who didn't look strong instantly became a target for his teasing. And because Lena never lifted her head much and always seemed like she was avoiding people's eyes, she became the kind of person he liked to joke about. He didn't know anything about her life, but he assumed she was weak simply because she worked there and stayed silent. One late afternoon, when the gym was more crowded than usual, Ryan was talking with his friends near the boxing area. They were laughing loudly, telling stories about who won what match, and bragging about their strength. When Ryan noticed Lena cleaning the mat next to the punching bag, he smirked and nudged his friend with his elbow. "Watch this," he whispered with excitement, the kind of excitement that meant,